right?
The Art Ambassadors program is a new initiative here at the museum that's really designed to bring in new voices into the museum. Our museum is committed to being a more inclusive, accessible, diverse, welcoming space. And one of the ways that we're wanting to do that is by creating opportunities for people in the community that may otherwise not have had these opportunities to come in and create and design their own tours based on their own cultural, artistic, any kind of interest that they may have. We really want to create an opportunity for people to feel like they're welcome to come and help us think about our art collection from their perspectives. This is a long-term play. We're committed to this for the long haul, but we're confident that with time, more and more people will understand this effort, what it means as far as opening up our museum in more welcoming and authentic ways.
Marble or like that.
We've never really before, not quite like this, ever had a tour program where people bring their own particular focus, perspective, background, language, expertise, whatever that may be, to something that they've created, and we're excited for the opportunities to find the right audiences for that work that you're doing, and we think that it's special, and so we're excited and thankful that you're part of it.
Each art ambassador will create a tour that is really based on something they're passionate about, their background, their interest, their language, their area of expertise. And so depending on who the audience is for that, and also what their ability to commit looks like, we'll work with them kind of one-on-one to bring our visitors to that particular tour. So I think in terms of the longevity of a certain tour, it might just depend on the art ambassador as well as the nature of the tour that they plan.
Personally, I want to be a curator. That's like my career goal, and they give tours, and so I feel like this will help me just like as a jumping off point, if that makes sense. And then I feel like museums kind of not censor, but they don't really include like queer voices. And so I feel like with my tour, I'll be able to bring queerness into the museum.
I wanted to be able to get into this space to make the changes, and it would mean so much more if it was coming from a Pacific Islander. I know how it is to enter entire institution places and higher education systems and not seeing myself, because a lot of times it's hard to be what you can't see. And so, yeah, that hit home, and on that community level, I just know that I want my nieces and nephews to be able to walk into the UMFA. Born and raised here in Utah, and they're very Utahn to the core, but being able to walk in and say, oh, I've seen this in my grandma's home. I know what this means. I know where that comes from and stuff like that. It's just seeing themselves reflected in a space like this. So, yeah.
Art is not only what you can see, it's also what you can feel. It's also what you can hear, what you can smell. Because if you can look at the picture, it's more than just what you can see. And I always like to get kids the feeling that maybe if they look at the painting and I would show them some music, that they can see even more. Or if they would touch something, and that it's like a 3D or fourth dimensional experience that I'm hoping to give them.
I think my sort of first hope for this program is that people involved in this, these 18 individuals that we have involved right now, feel that the museum is theirs, that they have a voice in what we do here, that they're leading some of the conversations, and that we're sharing in those with them, learning with them. I feel like that's really important. I think it's part of our role as the Museum for the State of Utah and as a university museum to create opportunities for people to really feel like this is theirs. And so that's one of my hopes for the program. The other is I'm really excited and curious about what what people come up with as they get to know the collection, as they find works that they think are interesting or important. I think that what excites them will excite other people, and so I'm hopeful that it might bring other people to the museum that maybe haven't connected with it before also, but through these tours find, that this is a place where they want to be too.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like wrinkles. So it's kind of this collection of like, I got this really cool thing, now I'm just gonna like put it right there.
I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And I was surprised how many people were there. And I really liked it. You learn a lot. You get together with a lot of different people from different backgrounds. And I just talked to another art ambassador. And the last time we met, because then we met in smaller groups, but all together, it was still search in progress, and you think, oh, will we get that together? And now everybody has its tour, and it worked out so fine, and all of them are super interesting. I would take all of them. So yeah, it's a good thing to do.
I think it went well. I was really nervous before, but now I'm like relieved because everything's over, and it went better than I expected. There was a lot more interaction, and people actually seemed interested in nudity, which I didn't think they were going to be. So I guess just like the connections that I made between like cultures and art objects, like coming into the museum, I was like dead set on doing something about like LGBTQ people, but then walking through the galleries and talking with the curators, it sort of like opened my mind and like opened the door to new ideas and connections between artworks that I never had made before.
When I had envisioned my tour and what I was going to be doing, I only thought of like Pacific Islanders and like that demographic of giving them that tour. And so I had to kind of step back of like, what if this person that's coming into this tour had like no connection or ties to the Pacific or no understandings and background knowledge. And I was fearful of this first one because I knew that there wasn't going to be a lot of PIs coming, that it would kind of flop. But I was so surprised and like amazed about how people can make connections regardless of like the knowledge that they do or do not have. And so it was really great. I think that was the most surprising thing of tonight, but it was cool. So, yeah.
We kind of thought of it's probably.
The biggest takeaway that I've had is how much power there is in sharing authority and being willing to share authority with our community. What does it mean for us as an institution to open up our doors, to invite people in and saying, your voice matters, your story matters, we want to hear your story and your perspective as it relates to our art collection or to your own experiences. And we value that, and we welcome you, and we're offering you a space to come and do that. I mean, that in itself is not normally, I think, how a lot of art museums operate, or how a lot of museums operate. So I think my biggest takeaway is that we're doing the right thing. I would encourage any museum to find ways to engage their communities in these more meaningful, direct ways, because there is so much for us to learn as institutions by not being the ones that have all the answers, not being the all-knowing, and just saying, we can learn together. And what's important to you as a member of our community, from whatever background, from whatever your story is, that's going to help us connect with you in more meaningful ways, connect with our community, and give much broader meaning to the objects in our art collection.